being able to score like that in so many different ways with these squeezes we've seen and the double stealing and all that?
Well, it's huge. I mean, that's us and our best character, and you have to play that way at this point in the year. I mean, everybody in the Pac-12 has a good pitching staff. Everybody in the postseason has a good pitching staff, and as much as I'd love to bang out 6 or 7 doubles a game and a bunch of home runs, it's really hard to come by. And so we want to be a versatile offense that can beat a team a number of different ways. And early on, it was a lot of banging the ball around the field, and that was great. And lately, I wouldn't say we've reinvented ourselves. We've just found a different way to win. And I think that's the hallmark of this team, is there's a lot of different ways to win.
Do you feel like you've got your rotation set now with kind of Cody stabilizing that third day?
Well, he's pitched great, and a lot of it, moving forward will be still just taking it one game at a time. And, we talk about offensive versatility. Pitching staff-wise, taking it one game at a time is also who we are. With that being said, you can't ignore his performances, and you can really point to Cody as a key cog in why we've played well the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Kind of off of that, Flynn seems to have solidified himself as the go-to guy when you guys are up in a close game. What has he done in these last month or two to kind of make himself that guy?
Well, he's had a really good season. I think you can point to his improvement as something that has been great for our team. I think when you talk about the pitch stuff, if you will, the angle on the fastball has been really good. I mean, I think he was up to 93 the other night, but when it's tumbling downhill like that, it plays at like 94, 95. Breaking ball for a strike, always had a good changeup, locates both sides of the plate, and I just think he feels good. He's a well-conditioned player, and maybe push through some arm tiredness in the middle of the year he's pitching his best right now, and his contribution to what we're doing, you can't ignore that, much like Deason's.
Lon was kind of saying that changeup is why he can get left-handed hitters out now too. What is that? What do you attribute that to?
I just think he's got a good arm speed. He's athletic, and sometimes it just takes throwing it more. You put a guy like Cody or Michael in high school with a great fastball, they're almost doing high school hitters a favor by throwing them a changeup and slowing it down. So sometimes guys come not ready with that pitch developed as well as it needs to be to get college hitters out. Well, now they've been, under Coach Lon and our program for almost 2 years, and you're starting to see that upward tick with the pitchability, and that changeup's been a key for him.
So you have been pretty open about the fact that you study the RPIs and you look at it multiple times a day, probably. How do you get your players to not do that and focus on the game that is upcoming if you yourself are really into it?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think I love that they're into those sorts of things. I mean, they've done a great job creating an opportunity for themselves to continue their season after this week, and that's fun and that's exciting, and all of those types of things, and really how you categorize everything is important. I love it because it shows the competitive nature of them. With that being said, I don't think anybody's rolling out on the field, thinking about the RPI or the projections or the standings or anything like that. They're mentally tougher than that, and I think they compartmentalize stuff really, really well. And, I am not thinking about it in the 7th inning of a 1-run game, which our team has been really good of over the last month, and I know they're not either.
Now that you've been at a school where you have a conference tournament and one that doesn't, do you have a favorite? Would you like to be playing in a conference tournament in this weekend versus just playing a conference game or conference series?
No, I'm totally good with the setup the way that it is right now in the Pac-12, and what it does is it allows us 5 non-conference weekends instead of 4, so we can do some creative things with our schedule to create different RPI opportunities. And I feel like for 2 years we've really taken advantage of that, and this year was no different. I mean, the Frisco Classic, 3 neutral games against Arkansas, Oklahoma State, Nebraska, piggyback Texas Tech with that road game, Cal State Fullerton. We went on the road to College of Charleston, which is a perennial NCAA tournament team. So I feel like there's another way to build your RPI other than a conference tournament, and that's what we don't have one right now, so I have to figure out a way we're going to do it, and I feel like it's worked out good so far.
What's your scouting report on the Cal Bears?
Very, very talented, a little younger. I mean, they had an interesting year last year where that was kind of their time, probably, if you looked at it up on paper, with old guys like Cumberland, who I think was the player of the year, and Mitchell Cranston and Dalton Jeffries, and they had a couple pitching injuries that kind of derailed that. And in our league, it's really difficult when somebody goes down on the mound. I mean, we've seen that at times with our team. And so they were a little unlucky last year. But when you looked at the guys that were right behind them that were freshmen last year, or the guys that they brought in this year, it's extremely talented. I mean, Andrew Vaughn is as good a hitter in the league, and he's only a freshman. Cameron Eden, the shortstop, is a freshman, is a great player. Jared Horn, was maybe the #1 prospect that actually showed up in college, and he's pitched in the starting rotation the whole year. Eric Martinez, closer back. Ty Green, catcher. Jonah Davis is a great player. So we're playing an NCAA tournament caliber team this weekend, and they've played a really good schedule. I mean, 4 at Texas Tech, played TCU 3, Cal Poly 3. So I'm expecting another typical Pac-12, tough series.